இங்க வேண்டாம் வீடியோ
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Department of Computer Science, I cordially invite you to this webinar session. Prayer does not fit for the greatest work. Prayer is the greatest work. Let's start this session with Jain Muhammad Ra, followed by Tamil Thai Valtu. I request all the participants to stand for the prayer.
Jana Gana Mana
Thank you all. Sunshine is a welcome thing. It brings lots of brightness. I cordially invite Mr. Vetri Vedan, student of Department of Computer Science, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening to all. Small cheer and great welcome makes a mercy feast. It takes human pleasure in welcoming and gathering on behalf of the Department of Computer Science to the one-day webinar on data science and its application. First of all, it's a privilege to welcome our management committee members and Secretary Sir, Associate Secretary Sir, advisors, Director, senior coordinates and coordinates, staff and students. It takes great pleasure in welcoming our chief guest of today, Mr. Pankaj Muthe. I welcome all to our informative session. Thank you.
A breakthrough in a mountain time when the impossible becomes possible. It is my great privilege in welcoming Mrs. Aruna Ma'am, Senior Coordinator, Department of Computer Science, to introduce the speaker.
Good afternoon to one and all. High performing management professional. It's my privilege to welcome our chief guest of today's function, Mr. Pankaj Muthe. He is a high performing management professional with an MBA from JBIMS, experience of 20 plus years in education, consulting and marketing, including 10 plus years in program management. Excellent understanding of the educational landscape in the region. Experience of working with students in bridging employment gap and making them job ready. Proven ability of collaborating across functions and stakeholders across geographics and time zones. In his current role, he has been responsible in leading the growth of the academic program from a small presence to a large presence in India and the Asia Pacific region. The opportunity to lead the program and impact a few thousand students and professors in making them skill ready in data analytics is a humbling experience. In his personal life, he undertakes community development in rural areas of Maharashtra on a regular basis. He is also a sports person and constantly works on fitness as his passion. His qualities are embedded due to sports or discipline, determination, a positive frame of mind, and a cheerful disposition. I welcome you, sir, for accepting our invitation in your busy schedule. I hope the students will get good insights in data analytics and its applications. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just a minute, sir. You can start your presentation, sir.
Sure.
Nothing great in the world was accomplished without great passion. I take great honor to welcome the chief guest of the day, Mr. Pankaj Muthe, Program Manager, Q-Link, to address the gathering. So please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your introduction to me, and also I really am thankful for this opportunity to speak to the gathering of students and professors, I believe, are also attending this event. So thank you for honoring me and inviting me for this great event. Please accept my congratulations and best wishes for organizing this event on data analytics. So I will start the presentation, and I will also explain what's going to be the agenda. So first, let me share my screen. Okay. I hope my screen is visible. If someone can just confirm so that, and also my voice.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirming. So today I'm going to basically talk about data analytics, but from a different angle. This talk is not going to be around the technical part of data analytics. Rather, it's going to be more on the application front of data analytics, because if you as students and also faculties, if you decide to do a career in data analytics or basically do something in data analytics, what are the nuances involved in terms of looking at this topic in a different view? So I'm going to talk about mostly stories around data analytics, and I will be also sharing some data around what are the prospects of data analytics. So it's going to be, I would say, a very non-technical kind of a discussion. If you have any questions, you are free to interrupt me at any point, or we can take the questions in the end. So this is going to be the agenda for today. First, I will introduce my organization, Click. Then I will, as I said, share some examples and anecdotes in analytics, which I hope you will like. Uh, when I share these anecdotes, if some of students can participate when I'm asking few questions, that will be great, because these are very simple questions. There are no right or wrong answers, and you can type your reply in the chat box so that I get your answer. So just to make it slightly interactive. Then I will talk about the scope and opportunities in data analytics, what sort of future you can see as far as a career in data analytics is concerned. Then I will talk about the Click academic program, which is the offering of Click for students and professors to learn data analytics. So I'll share some insights on that. And then we'll have a Q&A. But like I said, if you have any questions in the middle, feel free to interrupt. No problem with that. So my introduction has already been done, so I will not um, go into this slide in detail. Um, most of the points were covered by uh, ma'am and also sir. So I think it will be repetitive. So I will skip this slide and I will move on to the introduction of Click as a company. So Click is one of the leading data analytics companies in the world, and we have more than 38,000 customers all across the world in more than 100 countries. We have 2,000 plus employees all across the world. We have been ranked as industry leader by Gartner Magic Quadrant. It's one of the leading technology research and media company. They rank various technology companies according to their expertise. So for more than 10 years in a row, Click has been ranked as the industry leader. We have had a great and healthy growth since many years now. We've recorded double-digit growth since many years. We also work alongside our global ecosystem of partners, which includes Accenture, Deloitte, Cognizant, Microsoft, AWS in India, Infosys, Wipro, Capgemini. These are the companies that we work with very closely. Okay, so I will now move on to the story part of my presentation. So first, I will start with the story, which is probably one of the earliest examples of data analytics, and which is also called as the Broad Street pump case. So basically, the Broad Street pump case is about a disease that started in the UK in the 18th century, and the origin of the disease was not known. Okay, so I'm talking about cholera, where a lot of deaths were happening, and nobody was had any understanding about the origin of this disease and what was causing it. But the fact remained that a lot of people, especially in London, were dying of this disease. So when this outbreak spread, there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Snow. He decided to investigate, and he said, "Let me find out if I can trace the cause of this disease and maybe search for a solution." So he started investigating. So he came across a street which is called as a Broad Street. And on Broad Street, he found that most of the cases were happening on this street. So he started to, mark these cases on the street according to the number of deaths that were happening. So as you can see, these lines or graphs that have been developed by Dr. Snow have been plotted on the street map of Broad Street, and he started plotting it on the street, and this give them a visual idea as to what are the number of cases that have happened on particularly on this street. And then he came across a pump um, on the corner of the street, which you can see here, and where maximum deaths were happening. So he decided to investigate why are maximum deaths happening on this street, on this corner. And then he found out that under this pump there was a sewage line which was going, and while this sewage line was passing through this street, people were drawing water from this pump. So the water was getting contaminated with this pump along with the sewage line. So by drinking dirty water, people's lives were getting affected, and as a result, the cholera was spreading, and most of the people that had died were located close to the pump. So he just made a small plot on this map, and that's how he was able to get insights from this data. So this is like one of the earliest examples of data analytics, where by using simple tools that you have, that I have, and if we can discover some insights into data, it's great, right? Because but just by knowing the number of deaths in the city was not enough. He had to actually take out the map and plot the map on the deaths on the map. That's how he discovered the outbreak of this disease, and that also led to people understanding that there is a disease by this name, and the cause of this disease is because of contaminated water. So this was the earliest examples of using data analytics in a layman's language. The second example, or second part of the some couple of stories that I'm going to tell you about is based on this book called as Factfulness by, and it's by one of the leading authors, famous authors called Hans Rosling. So he has written some interesting reasons, 10 reasons on which this book is based. And he says that by just looking at data differently, we can understand the world in a completely different manner. So he's basically talking about data, but he's not talking about data as a subject. So he's talking more in terms of the practical point of data. Okay, so he has just talked about 10 instincts. So obviously we don't have time to talk about 10, but we'll talk about 3 or 4 in today's session. Okay, so the question that I would like you to answer, and I want you to quickly answer and put it in your chat box, is what percentage of mankind lives in low income countries? So before you Google, if you can just answer quickly what comes to your mind, whether it's A, B, or C, or D, what do you think is the right answer? What percentage of mankind lives in low income countries? Any guesses? Okay, we have one answer. It's A. Okay. Okay. Thank you for answering. Anybody else who wants to answer?
More than 80%.
More than 80%. Okay, that is one answer. Okay, two answers we have, more than 80%. Okay, thank you. So I think I will stop here, because if people start Googling, they might get the answer. Okay, so another answer that has come is say C. Couple of those who are present said it's more than 80%. Let's look at the right answer. Okay, the right answer is D. 9% of the world's population lives in low income countries, so which is less than 20%. It's a big surprise, isn't it? It's a surprise when even I answered, my answer was also similar to yours. I thought it is A or B. It definitely cannot be C, and D was out of question. But it's surprising that 9% of the world's population lives in low income countries. Now, why is this a surprise for us? The reason is because all through our life or our education, we have been led to believe that a majority of the population is poor in the world. And when we think of a poor population, we think of certain regions in the world, certain countries in the world. And even in our own country, we know that it's not exactly, like a lot of people are not exactly living in very decent, living on decent incomes. So that's why we have been fed by the past data and also by the media that a majority of the mankind is poor. But the reality has changed. Okay, and the reality has changed since many years, and the fact lies that 9% of the world is only in low income country, and majority of the world lives in middle income countries. So this is another interesting thing. Whenever we think of any data, we generally tend to think of the data in two extremes. So when we think of income levels, we generally tend to think of the poor and the rich. These are the two extremes we generally tend to think of. We know that there is a middle income or a middle layer that's there, but we tend to ignore it, or we feel that it's a tiny percentage. Whereas the fact remains, in terms of the income, that a majority of the world today lives in middle income countries, and this has been validated by data which the author has found out from UN sites or various sites. Even you can find that out if you do a bit of research. You will find that what the author is saying is right. Okay, so this is an interesting thing, because the gap instinct, what the gap instinct says is that it is makes our tendency to divide two things into two distinct and often conflicting groups with an imagined gap between them. So generally we think of extremes, we generally think of two extreme, polar things as far as situations are concerned, people are concerned, or even income levels are concerned. A lot of our impression about the world or about situations is based on media. Okay, that's another thing. The media gives us some information, and based on that we allow our judgments to pass. That's another problem. So if you actually skip media, or actually do not depend on media for source of information, you will start to analyze information in a more objective way. Okay, so the best approach to basically minimize the gap instinct is to allow data and help it to derive conclusions. Okay, so that's the reason I spoke about gap instinct, and that's the reason why the author speaks about gap instincts, because he says that instead of allowing any entity like media to to influence our thoughts, it's best to use data to derive conclusions. Okay, so that is the first instinct that he talks about. The second instinct that he talks about is called as the generalization instinct. Now I'm going to show you pictures, and in your mind you can answer this question on your own. You don't have to. If you want to put it in the chat box, you are welcome, but I want everyone to think of it in the mind. So when you think of this first picture, uh, which region do you think will come to your mind, or which particular part of the world will come to your mind? You can think yourself. When you think of China, what comes to your mind? Okay. And I'm going to talk about this after this. When you think of the US, what comes to your mind? When you think of Africa, what comes to your mind? Okay, so let's go step by step. So when I showed you this picture is obviously, this person is not a normal person. He's someone who is out for some terrorist activity. So when I showed you this picture, you probably thought that he's from a particular region, and I'm just guessing what you thought. I may be wrong, but I'm guessing that you might have thought that this person is from the Middle East region. Okay, which is true by the way it looks, but the fact remains that today terrorism is not confined to one particular region. You'll find terrorism in many countries, or I would say most of the countries. Maybe they it might be in small pockets or small regions, but it is there in almost large part of the world. And for that you'll have to dig information, you'll have to research on your own, and you'll find that what I'm saying is probably true. Okay. Second point about China. Okay. Someone said he's from Mumbai or okay. Again, that is uh, that might be true, but the point I'm trying to say is that the point of terrorism is not confined to a particular region or a country. Okay. So second picture I showed to you was about China. Now another interesting country. When we think of China, the first thing that everybody thinks of in the world is COVID, right? That's the only thing that comes to your mind. For India, we also think of China maybe as someone who is always trying to disturb us or disturb our boundary. Okay, that's another impression of China. But I'm not a fan of China. I'm not a supporter of China. But it is a well-known fact that China is, if not the most developed country, is definitely among the one or two top developed countries in the world. And it's not a small thing, because in 1947 China was poorer than India. Okay, remember that China was poorer than India, but today China has become a very developed country, has become so advanced that if anyone visits China, they feel that China is probably much ahead even of the US. Okay, and in since even COVID started, there are so many developments China might have taken, but unfortunately we tend to overlook them as normal citizens, because her whole focus on China was on China got the Wuhan virus, China got COVID, China is enemy and like a villain and all that. But again, if you look at data, if you look at various information, you'll find many good things about China. And like I said, I'm not supporting the country. I'm just trying to give you a different insight into how we can look at things. Okay. Okay, another couple of comments again. We have got China, the place. See, this is the thing. Again, we are only thinking about about China in a particular way, but that is not true. There are 100 better good things about this country, and that is true about many other countries. Okay. The other picture I showed to you was about the US. So US, when you think of US, you think of it as like a like a dream destination, especially for engineers. That is where your dreams will be made. That is where it's a land of prosperity, it's a land of getting rich or getting the best career. But do you know that even in China you have people who are poor, and even sorry, in the US you have people who are poor, and even there are so many things in the US which are as bad as some of the poor countries. So I'm not again trying to demarcate or belittle the US, but what I'm trying to say is that every country has a plus and a minus. And like India, we have some good things, we have bad things. The same is the case with the US or China, or for that matter, any country. So for that, again, uh, if you do some research, you'll find out many things about the country, and there might be again some interesting good things that you might not have heard. You'll discover about that country. Okay. So next picture I showed to you was about Africa. And the moment we think of Africa, we think of Africa as a poor continent. But again, let me tell you that some of the countries in Africa, particularly North Africa, and I think maybe one or two countries even in South Africa, south of Africa, are their per capita income is very good. It's as good as some developed countries. So even within Africa, you have pockets of countries, you have pockets of people, or pockets of population whose per capita income is, if not more, definitely at par at with those in the developed countries. But the impression we think get about Africa as a country is that it's a poor continent. The entire continent is poor, or not so pleasant things about the country. So again, the point that I'm trying to make here is that according to the author, when we talk about the generalization instincts, we tend to group together things, people, countries, and assume everything is, or everyone is in one category. Okay, that's the way the human mind works. We automatically generalize and categorize all the time. Okay, so this is a human tendency. There is nothing wrong with you, there is nothing wrong with me. A human tendency generally generalizes things and categorizes things all the time unconsciously. So it's not also a question of being prejudiced. So some you might say that, okay, I have a prejudiced opinion, or you have a judgmental opinion about a particular person or a country or a background. That's not true. It's just human mindset. The gap instinct divides the world into us. The previous instinct that we saw, basically it divided the world, and the generalization instinct makes us think that if they are same, all of them are same, like China, China is like corona, this Africa is poor. So that is how the generalization instinct makes us think, makes, like generalize things. Okay. Okay. Again, somebody has said US most advanced country in the world. Sir, sorry to say, if you have any data you can produce, I would disagree with that. US is might be advanced country, but not generally speaking. Okay, maybe in certain areas. In certain areas, in fact, even India is a world leader. Okay, so let's move on to the next instinct that the author talks about, which is called as the straight line theory. So before I talk about what is the straight line theory, this I would like to present to you. If you saw Australian Open this year, the final match between Nadal and Medvedev. Okay, if you are tennis fans or if you're not, but this example will make you think, especially from the point of view of the topic that the author talks about. So this was the score at the end of the third set, and as you can see, Medvedev was leading 6-2 and 7-6. The first two sets was Medvedev was leading 6-2, 7-6, and Medvedev was almost on the verge of breaking Nadal, because in the third set he was leading 40 love. Okay, that was the third set. And the final set, because in men's tennis, there are three sets. So if he wins this third set, then obviously he wins the match and he wins the tournament. And as you can see in the corner, he had 3 break points to win this game, match, and maybe the tournament. So this is how Medvedev was probably thinking in his head, like I'm going to win this match. But what happened was something different. Neither did Nadal allow him to take the break points, but in effect, you can see the scores from third set onwards. The third set was won by Nadal 6-4. Fourth was won by Nadal 6-4, and the last one was won by Nadal again, and the cup went to Nadal. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing that happened in Australian Open today. This year, and this also relates to the straight line theory. So if anybody was watching this match, he or she would have felt, "Arey, third set is won by Medvedev. Now it's easy that he's going to win it. It's very simple. Let's switch off the television, or let's switch on something else, or let's go and watch Netflix." So that is how the straight line theory works. So just to give you some information about how the straight line theory is, it's the tendency to assume a certain trend will continue along a straight line in perpetuity. So for example, a most common trend which everybody thinks will go in a certain way or in a straight line is the population. Everybody knows that the population of the world is increasing, and everybody feels that the population is increasing, and after a certain um, you know time or period, it's going to be a really bad situation for us, which is true. But is that what's happening in the world today? The fact lies that the population is increasing, but also the aging population is increasing. So today, actually, you have more people who are going to get old and senior in the next 10 to 20 years than young people who are going to be born. So which means that the population of people who are going to be senior, or population of percentage of people who are going to die, is more than the population who is going to be newborn in this world. So as a result, it's not going to be a straight line. It's already stagnated, and it's going to decline. Okay, except for India and some few countries in the world, you'll find a lot of countries are already, including China, has a lot of senior people already getting old. Okay, so the point is that nothing moves in a straight line. Okay, if you look at your own uh, personality, or if you look at your own career, you'll find that how you were maybe 10 or 15 years back and how you are now are different things. Or maybe you thought of something to do as far as your career is concerned 10 years back, and you're doing something else. So it's not necessarily moved in a straight line fashion. There have been ups and downs, and the graph has moved in different shapes and strange shapes. So the conclusion is that we have to depend on fact. You have to always look at data whenever you are trying to talk about something, or if you are going to have a discussion on something. Do not use the gap instinct where you try to polarize data information. Do not use the generalization instinct where you're trying to generalize that, okay, this is 100% is good, 100% is bad. It doesn't work out like that. Also, recognize and avoid misinterpretation of information. So a lot of the data or information we are getting today is through social media, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through TV channels, the news channels. That's all information that they are telling you, which is not 100% true. So you have to go deep into that and see whether it's the right information. You need to interpret and use data to make decisions. Common types of stories get attention because they trigger our dramatic instincts. So any information that media shows, there is there are chances that it's negative in nature. And the reason why it's negative in nature, because that's the only way they can get our attention. Okay, it's human psychology. If you are going on a highway, and if you find that there is a car which there is an accident which has happened on the side of the highway, you are going to look at it, you are going to slow the car, and you're going to look at the car which has met with an accident, while forgetting that maybe on the other side of the road there are beautiful flowers. Okay, that's how the human psychology works. We tend to get attracted towards a dramatization of information, and also a lot of negative information. We have to control intake of drama so we can manage information. So you have to separate drama from information. That's very important, which will help you make decision. So these are all examples from real life, but this will exactly apply into your corporate life also, because whenever you have data to make decision, there is you are going to make a decision as data scientists or managers. So there is a chance that you might be influenced by your own thoughts, your own judgments, your own prejudices. But if you strictly stick to the data, then there is a chance that you will be able to make a decision objectively and effectively. So the bottom line is, be data driven. Okay, so now moving on, I'm going to talk a bit about some aspects of analytics and what is the career scope in analytics. So you as students, you all know that data is definitely one of the most sought after technologies today. Anything related to data is gold today. And I'm just sharing you these quotes which I will not read, but a lot of people are like the lady on the left hand side says that the goal is to turn data into information into insight. The gentleman on the right says information is the oil of the 21st century and analytics is the combustion engine. So you'll find a lot of such quotes which say that data analytics is definitely the growth area. And why this happening is because there is so much of data that is being generated. So this is just one day in data, and you can see that so much of data is being generated by so many different technologies and touch points. So anything that you are doing today has an element of data. Right now, you're using your computer, you're using your mobile phones to view this presentation, you're consuming data, and you're also sharing data. Then you have some of you have fitness tracker, smartphone that also contains data. You are exchanging data, social media, then the internet. I think our entire life today is around data. There's no, as long as we are connected with technology, we'll be connected with data, and that is true for most of the people on this planet today. So the fact remains that today's reality is the digital economy. We have already welcomed the digitization of the economy, and there's so much of digitization is happening, data is exploding, but data is just a source. Finally, you have to remember one thing is that how much ever data, how much ever technologies that will come and go in this uh, industry, finally it is people who are going to make decisions, and it's people who have to make the best use of data. And that's the reason I showed you those few examples, because if you have a certain mindset, then you will not be able to take the right decision and not recommend the best solution or strategy to the management, or the people that you are working for tomorrow. Or even if you have your own business or startup, you have to have a very data driven viewpoint. As far as a career in data analytics is concerned, it's I'm sharing few information, but all this is great. You will see that hiring in data science industry has increased. LinkedIn says that roles in analytics are among the most in-demand jobs. Data scientists, data engineer roles, not just data scientists, but there are so many different roles in data that you can think of and develop a career in. Research firm Deloitte says that a number of jobs posted by tech companies surpassed traditional skills like engineering, customer support, marketing, PR, administration. So all the skills which were in demand in the past, in maybe I got a job based on these skills, are no longer going to be so much in demand, or they are going to be overtaken by technology related skills, especially data analytics. So that's an important thing that you have to remember. Data science was the most in demand job in 2021 after US. India is the second largest hub for data analysts. Okay, so very interesting post prospects. These are some of the roles that you can expect. Generally, when you think of analytics, you tend to think of only the data scientist role, but the data scientist role is, I would say, a very evolved role, but and I would say that is a slightly senior in nature. You don't become a data scientist from day one. You may become one of these roles in the beginning, and then probably become a data scientist after 5 years or 10 years. So these are the roles that are in demand. If you do some search on any of the popular job portals like Naukri, which I'm just sharing this data, I searched a data analyst and I found 13,000 plus jobs. I searched business analyst, again I found the same number of jobs. So there are already so many jobs out there. So there is no scarcity for anybody who's trained in data analytics. So you don't have to be necessarily focused on data analytics as a career, but you need to acquire data analytics as a skill. And the reason is because if you look at any of the technologies that are in demand today, right, from AI to cloud or AR, VR, IoT, machine learning, quantum computing, these are all the technologies which are in demand, which you as students know better than me. But all of these need to have a foundation of data analytics. Okay. So data analytics is becoming more of a basic skill and a common denominator skill than a skill which is like something that you really have to think to do. It's not like that. It's a skill that will be required by any of the technology companies. So before you think of any career in any of these technologies, I think the right path is to learn data analytics and then move on to these technologies. So as far as Click is concerned, we are trying to promote data literacy. Our mission is to create a data literate world and where everyone can use data to solve the most challenging. So like I said, data analytics is a basic skill. It's going to be the skill uh, which is by default required by every student. So we are saying that we want to create a data literate world, like everybody should know how to deal with data. And that's why we have introduced the academic program, which I will introduce to you now. Basically, the academic program is the offering of Click for students, where we give you complete resources and complete free access to learn data analytics. So the entire access to this program is free. And what we offer under the academic program is online training, which is worth $3,500. Then we offer you qualifications and certifications. You have opportunities to work with more than 50,000 of Click customers and partners. So this is the entire ecosystem of Click. our aim is also to bridge the talent gap in the market. So no matter if you learn the academic through the academic program, you will also stand a chance to apply for data analytics jobs overall in the industry. So as far as the academic program is concerned, it's very popular. It's already there in 97 countries. More than 2,300 colleges, universities, institutions have taken benefit of this program. More than 37,000 students all over the world are learning through this academic program. And what you get from the academic program is on this slide. So you get basically the leading software of Click, which is ClickSense Business. Then you get access to Learning Portal, which is the entire resource for online learning, where you get structured pathways to learn. Then you have an opportunity to appear for the exam and gain qualifications and certification that are offered. You professors have access to the data analytics curriculum. So basically, professors can use the data analytics curriculum and teach analytics in the class. And to support the learning experience, we have the support resources in the form of Click community, customer support, and access to experts. So just to talk a bit about the qualifications and certifications, we have two exams that are given, again, free of charge, no cost at any stage. One is the business analyst exam, which leads to the certification. This is a slightly non-technical exam. So, you are taught to build visualizations and dashboards uh, in this pathway, whereas the data architect is more on the technical side, where you need some knowledge of the technology C plus, or you should be familiar with Java. So more on the backend side of data analytics. So these are the two main qualifications under the academic program. And you can learn to be a business analyst, you can learn to be a data architect. Both these roles are in high demand in the market. What you receive from us is a qualification and a digital badge. Then we also have the data analytics certification, um, which is a product agnostic certification. So basically, anybody who wants to do a pure data analytics certification, this option is also open to you. This is the link for the academic program, click.com/academic program. You can get more details about the program on this page. And if you have any questions, you can note this email ID and write to us. Okay, so that's it from my side. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Very informative. And now I welcome Nasikala ma'am to give the highlights of today's program. Students, do you have any questions? You can just ask sir and the questions for you.
Yeah, or you can put it in the chat box. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever is comfortable. Any questions about data analytics or any questions about the Click academic program, I'm happy to answer them.
Students, if you're difficult to find, to post your questions in the chat box, you can also unmute and you can ask.
Okay, so we have a question. What is the duration of the program? Okay, so the program is divided into different pathways. We have the business analyst pathway, which is the training is roughly about 17 to 18 hours. Then we have the data architect pathway, again, the same amount of duration. So it's a self-paced program. It's up to you how quickly you want to complete the training and appear for the exam. So it's up to you. Like I said, I mean, you can maybe if you decide you can finish it in 1 week and get certified, or if you want to do it a little at leisure, you might take 15 days or 20 days. So it's up to you. Any other question? And as I said, the program is free. That's one of the uh, questions that I normally get. Okay, so one more question saying that how much it is efficient for our career. So I'm assuming this question is about the academic program, and I think the student wants to know what is uh, the efficiency for. So it's see, the first thing about the program is academic program is that it's free. So I mean, by learning something new which you're getting for free, you can add value to your resume. It's as simple as that. Number two is that we have customers in the market who are in need of trained professionals all over the world. So in that sense, yeah, there is an immediate demand that is there in the market. Third is even for any job tomorrow, if you want to work as a consultant for any of these consulting companies like Accenture, and if you get a role as a data analyst or a business analyst, they will ask you if you know about any technology. So when you apply for that, if you say that you know Click, that will be a good value add for your job, and that will help you get the job better. And like I showed you on the job portal naukri.com, there are already so many jobs in the market anyways, so all these are helpful for your career. So I would say there is nothing for you to lose, right? I mean, it's not something that you have to pay for, or it's not something a new industry that I'm talking about. Data analytics, as you are aware, is definitely one of the hot technology sectors in the world today. Okay, there's another question. Should there be any pre-knowledge to learn the course? Okay, I think most of your engineering students, if you are engineering students, then um, there is nothing that you need to know beforehand. But if you're not engineering students, and if you come from a non-technical background, even then the answer remains the same, especially if you wish to learn the business analyst course. There is no technical knowledge that you require, because that's a completely non-technical course. You can also learn the data analytics certification, which is again non-technical, but it has topics in statistics. So you will have to learn statistics as a subject. If it's new for you, then you'll have to learn it. But I would say that it's is easy to learn compared to something which is technical or from the engineering side. But I would say that these are the only courses in data analytics by any mainstream company like Click, which offers uh, learning for every student, whether he or she is from a technical background or from a non-technical background.
Students, do you have any questions you can ask, sir? Thank you, sir, for the quick question and answer session.
Thank
And
you.
now I welcome Sasikala ma'am to give the highlights of today's program.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable speech and sharing your knowledge in your busy schedule. Sir, you have discussed about the many features of data science, which is very much useful for our students. Sir. Your real-time example, your real-time example, actually regarding the data science, which is very much useful, and your real-time examples explanations about the generalizations with the various countries analysis were very much interesting. You have a grab attention towards your speech, common types of stories, scopes and opportunities, and data analytics. The state and theory which I have explained was very informative, very informative. Key resources for professors and students to train in data analytics, online training and certification for the students and professors. Once again, thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me. Okay, so I think we should leave the meeting, or are there any proceedings?
Just a minute, sir. Vote of
Okay.
thanks and
Okay, okay.
Now I welcome Mr. Hari Prasad to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It's been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful event. On behalf of Department of Computer Science, I'm glad to be sitting here to deliver my vote of thanks. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Pankaj Mukte sir, Program Manager, for his flawless and informative session. Now I thank our management committee members, our secretary sir, associate secretary sir, advisor, director, senior coordinate and coordinates and staff members. It's time to thank the pillars of this session, technical team, for their timely help. Finally, I would like to thank our dear fellow students for your participation and making this event a successful one. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Hari Prasad. Now I request all the students to stand up for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे
Thank you all the participants for attending this session, and thank you sir for the valuable information, and the session was very informative.
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us and accepting our invitation. Very
Thank you,
interactive
ma'am.
session, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, ma'am.